Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. A few days ago, we made a video breaking down the impending SAG-AFTRA strike and its potential impacts on Marvel Spider-Man 2 at Comic-Con next week. However, we have a news update for you today now that the SAG strike is officially underway, and SAG themselves have provided some clarity as to what is allowed and what is not allowed, as well as some official comments from Yuri Lowenthal himself that will hopefully provide some further context to the overall situation. We're going to break down all of these new details for you today and how they will possibly impact Marvel Spider-Man 2 at Comic-Con next week. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always, and the way to do that, just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It'll notify you every single time that Andreas and I upload. Now with all of that out of the way, Andreas, we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we do. Let's do it, guys.
All right, Andreas, so I want to just take it back to a few days ago when we made this first news update video and we had the SAG-AFTRA strike impending, and the situation was very fluid. There wasn't a lot of concrete details out there, and we were all really concerned based off of the wording and the sources that the Spider-Man 2 panel possibly was not going to be a real thing at San Diego Comic-Con next week with all of the voice actors and everything going on. However, you've done a lot of digging, a lot of research, and a lot of analysis, and it seems like the situation may have changed.
That's right, Nick. Now that the strike is completely underway, we have official guidance from SAG-AFTRA and some great resources to really clarify on who is impacted by the film and TV strike and ultimately who isn't impacted by the film and TV strike. And really, after digging into all of these materials, I think the first source of guidance was this morning, where we had a press briefing where they announced that a strike was official after the unanimous vote, and we had the SAG-AFTRA executive director and chief negotiator Duncan Crabtree Ireland, who reported, and I quote, "Due to the broad nature of our membership, this strike does not affect all members of all contract areas, just those working under the 2020 TV and theatrical contract. Performers working in interactive entertainment, audiobooks, music, commercials, and other contract areas will not be directly impacted." So he officially confirmed that interactive entertainment will not be directly impacted by the film and TV strike. And that's because voice actors and other performers working on video game projects are subject to a completely different contract that is not under strike, that being the Interactive Media Agreement, which is currently being negotiated. It has not gone for a strike. If you guys recall, this agreement had a massive strike back in 2017 that was long and drawn out, and so we're not quite anticipating a strike for video game performers for quite some time. And what this means for our purposes for San Diego Comic-Con is that these performers will be able to attend the event and promote their video games, unless, of course, they do opt to join in on picketing or on refraining from promoting their own works in solidarity with other members who are on strike for their own promotional works in the theatrical and TV space. And more than this confirmation from SAG-AFTRA, we also got a comment directly from Yuri Lowenthal himself, right, Nick?
Yeah, we sure did. So after all of this information was kind of leaking out of SAG-AFTRA very slowly throughout the day, and we were able to start building a bigger, more complete picture as to the current situation, we actually, about 55 minutes ago from the time of recording this, actually got an official comment from Yuri Lowenthal himself that confirms the current situation that he finds himself in. He says, "For those of you asking, yes, I'll be attending the Spider-Man 2 and the MK1 panels at San Diego Comic-Con. I wholeheartedly support the strike and my fellow SAG-AFTRA and WGA members. But the interactive video game contract is not a subject of the strike yet." So as of right now, Andreas, it sounds like at least Yuri Lowenthal, and I feel like we could probably assume then Laura Bailey and Tony Todd and Najee Jeter will be a part of the Spider-Man 2 panel next week at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, I do want to ask you one question because you have a lot of familiarity with this area. He says, but the interactive video game contract is not a subject of the strike yet. Is that something the general public needs to worry about going into next week? Could this become a problem before Comic-Con takes place?
You know, I really don't think so at this point. I think San Diego Comic-Con really is coming up quickly in just about a week now. This Spider-Man 2 panel is going to take place in under a week from the release of this video, a week from today, the day that we are filming this. And the Screen Actors Guild has been pretty clear. They released an official bulletin today saying that performers subject to the interactive media agreement, quote, for video games, are not going to be prohibited from promoting their works on video games. In fact, the interactive media agreement is negotiated with a completely different organization than the AMPTP. It's negotiated between SAG-AFTRA and a group of video game developers, which explicitly does include Insomniac Games, by the way. And I anticipate, just given the recency of a strike in that area, I'm not exactly anticipating a strike this time around, but tweets like this from Yuri Lowenthal, where he's saying where the interactive video game contract is not subject of the strike yet, it is a little ominous, but I am thinking that the interactive media agreement will almost follow suit with the DGA in terms of striking an agreement this time around and maybe leaving the fight to the Screen Actors Guild and the WGA to really make strides in their own negotiating over their collective bargaining agreements.
I just want to kind of wrap this up for everybody, and Andreas, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong at the end of this, but just to make sure everyone is aware and we can kind of have just a nice coherent summary of the situation. SAG-AFTRA is currently on strike. It is officially underway. However, video game and video game artists will not be subject to the current terms and conditions of that strike. So that means they will be able to attend conventions such as San Diego Comic-Con next week. And now we have confirmation that Yuri Lowenthal is planning to attend the Spider-Man 2 panel next week, which allows us to then assume that the panel will actually go on without any problems, which is great news for people who are going down to attend the event and fans who are looking forward to seeing what Insomniac has to offer and what all of these voice actors have to say about the characters they are playing in this game. So it sounds like, Andreas, our concerns the other day, while valid, actually turned out to not be the case, and the Spider-Man 2 panel will be able to go on as originally planned.
You're exactly right, Nick. It looks like this panel is going to go forward as planned. One slight caveat here, like one very slight nuance, is that some voice actors wear different hats insofar as they might be performing on works like video games that are not subject to the strike, but many of these voice actors are also working on projects that are subject to the strike. So I'm thinking of voice actors who voice act for video games and animated and television, and the voice actors who might be showing up to San Diego Comic-Con and promoting their video games might also be missing out on other panels that they may have attended to promote things like film and TV. So I am definitely keeping those people in my thoughts here as we do go through this strike process. I'm really hoping that the parties are all able to reach an agreement so that our voice actor friends are all able to get meaningful work going forward. So just, you know, our thoughts are really with them at this tough time, because so many people on all sides of the aisle are being impacted by this strike, and so we're really hopeful that they are able to reach an agreement at some point. But for the purposes of this video, guys, I really do think it's safe to say that Spider-Man 2's panel will go on as planned. Yuri Strikenthal himself, that's what he's changed his name to on Twitter, has confirmed that he will be there, so that's very exciting, and we're really looking forward to see what exactly is going to be released out of that panel from Insomniac Games, whether it be a story trailer like we have thought might be the case out of San Diego Comic-Con. Well, with that, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.